Good morning everyone and welcome to today's webinar focusing on sales opportunity management to drive sales growth. So this session will last around 30 minutes as per usual. Feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar using the chat, and don't worry about taking any notes, as you will be sent a copy of this recording afterwards. If I can't cover all the questions submitted, I will get back to you individually after the webinar has been completed. The demonstration will take place in the Prospect CRM, so this webinar should provide some insight into how the Prospect CRM can help you drive your business's sales growth. This software is accessed via your browser, meaning you can access the CRM on multiple devices such as tablets and mobile phones. If you are on our older product version 6 CRM and would like to find out more about the new Prospect CRM, do get in touch with our customer services department. We even offer a test drive service where you can view your own CRM data on this new platform, a perfect way for you to try out the new system. Okay, so a little bit about me. For those that don't already know, my name is Isabel Honor and I work as a customer success manager here at Prospect Soft. So one of my key responsibilities is to successfully onboard our new customers and newly migrated customers as well. I also undertake our on-site training and write some of the key online resources for the Prospect CRM, such as our articles and videos featured on the Prospect Academy site. So I'm sorry if you've already been watching a lot of the training videos, as you might get a little bit bored of my voice, but do bear with me because I hope this session will help you guys out. So now that we've completed the introductions, let's take a look at our agenda for today's webinar. So we'll be first taking a look at where the CRM can assist with the sales growth and at what point in the sales opportunity process the CRM helps them manage that opportunity. We will then head into the CRM and take a look at how you can configure the lead statuses so that you can start using the lead pipeline functionality. So lead pipelines is one of the key tools in managing your sales opportunities. So we'll be taking a look at how you configure those and also how we're going to use them. So once we've created the lead statuses and pipelines, we'll then take a look at creating a lead record and what information you can record, and how to use the statuses we have just set up within their pipelines. Next, we'll then be going through how to add notes to a lead and how to also set a recall to ensure someone proactively progresses this opportunity through to it being hopefully sold. We'll then take a look at how to create a quick quote underneath the lead and how to convert this to an order. Then finally, we'll be taking a look at all the useful standard sales reports that we have available within the CRM and where you can find those. So I thought it would be useful to first explain where the CRM can assist with the sales growth within the sales opportunity process. It's worth noting that the CRM will not generate you brand new contacts who will be potential leads. You should be using marketing activities to generate your new sales opportunities. So for example, this might be your Gator leads. So Gator Leads is a product of Communicator, who we are a reseller of. So this tracks visitors on your website, and once a visitor has gone onto some of your key pages, such as your pricing or product information pages, they are then flagged as a lead for your sales team to then target. So at that point, once they become a target, is when you then want to add all their contact details and things like that to the CRM, and then start managing that sales opportunity process via the CRM. So other forms of marketing activities that you might be undertaking is obviously social media campaigns, events or telemarketing, all of which will generate or should generate some brand new leads for you. The CRM can help generate leads in this way, but would be primarily add-on sales for existing customers. So this could be achieved by using maybe our integrated email marketing platforms such as Gator Mail or the CRM reporting, or by using the recorded interactions and the recall functionality that we have. So before we get stuck into the demonstration, I thought it would also be worth specifying where within the CRM you can best manage your sales opportunities. So within the Prospect CRM, we have a hierarchical structure, as we found this was the best way to organise the CRM data. The hierarchical structure starts with the company at the very top. For example, you would have the Browns group as the company, and then underneath this company, you would then have the divisions. These would be obviously the branches, such as Browns of Sheffield and Browns of Oxford. So each of those would be a separate division. Then underneath the divisions, you would have the people who work at these branches. So these are known as contacts within the CRM. Then finally, you have a record called a lead, which is logged underneath a contact. As you would be discussing an opportunity directly with a person at a business, you would use the lead record to manage the sales opportunity. If there was another sales opportunity later down the line, then you would create another lead record for that particular sales opportunity. Therefore, you would create a lead for each sales lead that you would have for a customer. So you'd have an individual lead record for each of those. Please note that the lead records are only appropriate if you have a slightly longer sales process. For example, if there's a lot of back and forth, negotiations, comparative quotes, and maybe even some meetings. If you don't have much back and forth or any of the above, then you're probably better off just using the quote records or even just the sales orders records. But this webinar will be focusing on leads. So there are two key features which will help you manage your sales opportunities, one of which is lead pipelines. So these pipelines should depict your sales opportunity process using statuses as the different stages of that process. A lead pipeline will include a series of statuses sequenced in a particular order that the sales opportunity should experience. For example, your first status may be inquiry, and then the next would be meeting booked, then finally having either sold or lost as your closing statuses within the pipeline. So please note that you can have multiple lead pipelines if you have more than one sales opportunity process. You don't just have to have one. By using the lead pipelines, you can also identify when you are losing the opportunities within that sales process. So when is that particular lead falling out of that pipeline? So we can see at what stage it then became a lost lead. The second tool that can help you manage the sales opportunity is the note and recall functionality. It is very important to record all of your interactions with the customer or prospect during that sales process. So you can review how this sales opportunity is going, and so someone else in the business could pick up the lead if required. So if you're out ill or if you were on holiday or out of the office, then hopefully as long as you've added all your notes, someone else from the business could pick that up and continue that sales process. The recall functionality also allows you to set reminders, enabling you to proactively be proactive during the sales opportunity process to ensure it is progressing through to hopefully being sold. You can also send tasks to other CRM users within your business, which is ideal if various teams are involved during the sales opportunity process. The recall functionality also promotes ownership over a lead, so you can clearly see who has worked on this lead if further information is required. Finally, another tool to help you manage your sales opportunities is to either use the standard sales reports, build your own reports, or use business intelligence tools. You could use all three if you wanted to. By using the standard sales reports, such as the pipeline reports, this can help you gain insight into your current sales opportunities and help you plan your sales team's efforts as well. So who should you be targeting next? Various standard reports are available within the CRM. However, we do understand that every business's reporting requirements are different. So you can just use the report builder to build your own report list. An alternative option, if you prefer more interactive graphs or more advanced reporting, then you can look at using business intelligence tools. The CRM has an open architecture, making it remarkably easy to dive into your data and gain powerful business insights. This allows you to not just query the standard CRM data, but also custom data fields, entities, and tables from any of the leading business intelligence and reporting tools. One example of those is obviously Microsoft's Power BI, which we do have some standard content sets, which again, we have loads of articles on our ProspectSoft Academy site on how to access those. Okay, so let's head on in and take a look at all of this in action. So here we are in our setting center. I'm not too sure how many of you have had a venture and had a look around here, but basically your setting center includes all of the options that you could possibly configure within the CRM yourselves. So here we want to find, first of all, our lead configure option. As mentioned earlier, you will first need to configure your lead statuses before you then go on to configure your pipelines. So to do so, just click on the configure link here. And that will then open up our configure lead status window. Within here, all of your current lead statuses will be listed and any that have also been obsoleted. To add in a new lead status, just click on the plus icon in the top right-hand corner. And within here, it's first of all going to ask us to give the new lead status a description. Make sure this is relevant to the sales opportunity stage that this status will be used for. For example, this might be meeting requested. Once you are happy with the description that you've given it, just click create. Now that we've created the new lead status, we'll then need to choose some additional preferences for this status. By clicking the pencil icon on the newly added status, this will open up a side panel where we can configure some of these additional options. So first of all is the recall required option. So in the CRM, you can ensure users take ownership of a record, or a lead record in this case, by setting them a recall, or otherwise known as a task. As a result, you can determine if a recall is required or not when a lead is in this particular status. So does someone need to take ownership of this particular lead when it is in the stage of meeting requested? I would probably say yes for this one, because you kind of want to make sure someone is chasing that and making sure you've got a date for that meeting. So we'll keep that as required, and you can choose to say whether it is optional as well with a pop-up, or you can say it's optional with no pop-up. So what it means by the pop-up is if a recall pop-up comes up in their faces when they change this particular status. But again, we're going to keep it on required. Next is the closed state. So if this status is going to be a closed status, such as sold or lost, then we need to ensure this is selected. But obviously this is an active, it's going to be an open one. It's not at the end of that particular pipeline, so it's going to be an open status. We also have status outcomes. So for reporting purposes, you can choose whether the status is a positive, neutral, or negative outcome. For example, using that lost status again, that is probably going to be a negative outcome, whereas a won status may be a positive outcome. For this one, we'd keep it as neutral because we don't quite know yet until we obviously come out of that meeting whether it's going to be positive or neutral, positive or negative. We also can choose whether the lead once in this particular status can be edited, read-only, or only admin users can edit this. I'd probably just keep that as editable for this one because, of course, anybody kind of wants to get on there and update that if a meeting has then been booked. If you no longer need a status anymore, you can choose to also obsolete it. By obsoleting a status, users will then no longer be able to choose this from the drop-down. Any leads that are already in the status will stay within that. You'd obviously then need to go through and change them by either using the bulk updater to use a new one, or you could just leave it in there if they don't need to be changed. Next is the status detail. So the status detail can be helpful when further clarifying the current status. For example, a status of lost doesn't really explain why. So you may have a status detail for lost to competitor or lost due to price. To do that, you just need to click on the plus button here and give your new status detail a description and then click create. For this one though, we just want it to be meeting requested. So once happy with all your amendments, you just click out of the side panel and then all of our changes will be saved. So now next we need to configure our lead pipeline. So we need to add our new status to a lead pipeline so we can use that within our lead process. So to do so, we just need to navigate back to our settings center and then find the new lead pipeline configure options. That should be here. So we just need to click on the click to configure link for the lead pipelines again, and this will open then the configure lead pipeline window. So here all of our current lead pipelines will be listed and also any obsoleted ones as well. So to add a new lead pipeline, just again click on the plus icon in the top right hand corner here. We will then be asked to give the new lead pipeline a description. Make sure this again is relevant to the sales opportunity that the pipeline will be used for. For example, this might be add-on sale. Once you are happy with that pipeline name, just click Create. So now that we've created our new lead pipeline, we'll need to add in the required statuses within this pipeline. We can do that by clicking on the pencil icon for this particular pipeline. This will then open up a side panel for us to start editing this particular pipeline. So to add in the required statuses, you'll need to click on the plus icon next to the status heading. This will then give us a list of all the active, or should I say open statuses that we currently have configured within the CRM. So here we can select the statuses that we wish to add to this particular lead pipeline. So for example, we might want unqualified, we might want then qualified, meeting, where's our meeting? Let's go for meeting requested, then meeting booked, then finally quoting, and maybe push for closed as well. So once we've chosen all of those stages, we then can click on the update button, and then that will add all of those statuses to the lead status section. Obviously, we do want to make sure that this is in the correct sequence, and so we can do that by dragging and dropping them. So we might want unqualified being first, then qualified, then our meeting requested, and then our meeting booked and quoting. Okay. So now we have got all of our open statuses added to our pipeline. So the next thing that we'll need to do is configure our closing statuses. So that's going to be, sold, lost, etc. So to do that, you just need to click on the plus button next to the closing status header. And then again, we'll be presented with a list of all of the closing statuses configured within the CRM. So we just have 2 here, which is lost and 1, but you might have more. So I'm going to choose both of those, and I'm going to click on update, and then that is going to add them as our 2 closing statuses here. Okay, so now that we have configured our pipeline, let's go and actually create a new lead record. I'm going to use our recent activity here and open up our contact of Michelle Jury. So here we have our favourite contact of Michelle with her contact record open, and she is interested in buying another alarm system from us. So therefore we need to create a new lead record to start managing this sales opportunity. To create a new lead record, just click on the plus button here, so the quick add, and choose the lead option from the drop down. We can then start filling out information about our new sales opportunity. To start with, we need to give this opportunity a description. So this should represent what this sale entails. For example, this might be new industrial alarm installation. Next, we have the salesperson. So this will be the CRM user that will be responsible for this particular sales opportunity. You can change this later on if the salesperson does change during the sales process. So don't worry if it is going to change later on. You can change that. But please note that if you do have quite a few drop-down options, such as this one, you can just type in here for the desired option, and then that will filter down the drop-down for you to that particular search term. So I can choose that to be myself. Next, we have the lead type. So this should characterize what type of sales opportunity that this involves. So you might characterize your sales opportunity based on the product type or the type of sale, such as maybe a recurring or one-off. It's completely up to you. You can filter your sales reports based on this lead type, so make sure this does include all of your typical sales opportunity types. For this example, we'd obviously probably choose the alarm system one. Next, we have our lead pipeline functionality. So as mentioned before, you can have multiple pipelines, which is particularly helpful if you have more than one sales process. So as mentioned before, the lead pipeline should represent the stages that your sales process involves. So for this example, I might choose additional sale because Michelle Jury is already a customer of ours. She just wants to buy an additional alarm system. So by choosing the additional cell pipeline, the status is automatically populated to the first status within the pipeline, which in this case is unqualified. So if you do need to skip a status because, for example, you've already qualified them, then just simply choose the next status in the drop-down. They have been helpfully numbered, so you know the sequence that these statuses should go through. Finally, we then have the size and margin drop-downs, which should represent how big of a sales opportunity this involves. Simply just choose the appropriate range from the drop-down. So if this one, I might go for 2 to 5k, and maybe the margin's up to, or maybe 1 to 2k. Do make sure you choose the correct range, as the average of this range will be used on the pipeline report until the quote record has been created underneath this lead and it knows the exact value of the sales opportunity. You will notice that quite a lot of these drop downs here have this configure option at the bottom, which basically means you can add and remove options from the drop down if you have administrator rights. So only administrators will get this configure option. So once we are happy with all of our selections, we can now click create, and that will then go through and create our new lead record. So once this has been created, we can go through and take a look at some of the key fields that will help you characterize and manage this lead. So starting from the left, we have our summary box, which allows you to input brief summarizing notes about this sales opportunity. So anyone can add or update this field. So do make sure that this summary includes kind of the most relevant notes, and also that if there are any kind of important notes, you are putting them in the activity section so no one can just simply overtype them. Next up is the characterization section, which has the lead type field that we saw earlier and also a lead analysis field. So the lead analysis shows you to allows you to further characterize your sales opportunity to help you when trying to filter your reports. What you have in this drop down will completely depend on how you want to classify your lead records. It's completely up to you. Again, you have that configure option so you can add and remove any from there. So this one we might want to say is repeat business. If we just go down, we then have the status section, which includes the salesperson that we chose earlier, estimated close date, current status, and the lead gatometer. The estimated close date should be the date that you think this the sale will be sold by. By default, the estimated close date will be set a month ahead. However, you can change this date by using the date selector if you think it's going to come in any later or earlier. The estimated close date will be used on standard pipeline reports as well, so do make sure you keep this updated during the sales process. Next, we have the current status. So you would use this to change the status through the pipeline. So if I just scroll up, we can see along the top of the record clearly what stage the lead is within this pipeline. If I do change the status to the next one, so let's go and change this to in sales process. It might pop up a recall window. So if you remember when we were configuring those statuses, we can choose whether a recall window pops up. This is what that is, but we'll come on to that in a bit. If I now scroll up, we then can see that it's now moved from qualified to being in sales process. So one step nearer to being that closed one. One thing to note with the prospect CRM pipelines is that you can easily move back to the previous status if need be. To do so, you simply just choose the previous one from this drop down, as easy as that. So we then have our gatometer value. So this should represent your gut feeling of how likely the sale is going to be sold. The gatometer is quite a nice visual, giving you a traffic light graph as you change the values. And it obviously, as you go kind of above 50%, it will go to green. So it's quite likely at that point. The gatometer value is used in the standard sales reports when calculating the best, likely, and worst figures. So again, make sure you are updating those as the sales opportunity progresses. Moving along, we have the at a glance section. So this includes the next action due button, which we'll come on to in a moment, and the opportunity value and some key contact details, such as a link to Google Maps to view the customer's address. You can also see how many active quotes and orders placed have been created underneath this lead. The opportunity value just shown here will be obviously using the average of the size range we have selected when we were creating that lead, and it will also use the gatometer value to calculate its likelihood. To help manage the sale opportunity, you can set tasks for either yourself or a colleague. So to do so, just click on the Next Action Due button. This will then open up the recall window where you can type out the follow-up task. You have rich text options such as bold, italics, and different font colours and different sizes as well. Within here, you can also see how many recalls that user has on that particular date that you're setting the recall for, and you can also see how many overdue recalls they have as well. So that's very helpful when you're managing workloads. If you are setting the recall for someone else, then an email will be sent with a copy of the message that you've written out in here and a link to that particular lead record. I'm going to set it for our support login and for today, so we can see what that looks like. So give this person a call about this opportunity. So once you are happy with your message there and the date and the user you'll be sending it to, you just click save. And then now if I go to my little recall list there, I've now got 2 set for today, and I can open up that particular record and view all of that information, see what I need to do with that task and obviously action it. So let's just say I have given Michelle a call and now I'm ready to kind of clear this recall or send it over to someone else. All you have to do is click on the Next Action Due button, and then you can either set it for someone else if this particular status requires a recall, or if it's in a closing status or a particular status which has an optional recall, you'll have a button here to click Clear Recall, and that will be removed from your recall list. You can also just add a note to your lead record without having to set a recall. So as mentioned before, it is really important to record all of your interactions on the lead record. You can do this within the activity section here. Simply just click on the Add Reply here, and then you can type out the note that you wish to add. You have the same rich text options as the recall window. You can also set an interaction type, so whether that is just a general note or if you took an incoming call or received an email as well. Once you are happy with your note, you can just hit post, and then that will be added to the activity section, and it will say that you have added that note and at what time and what date. Another way of recording your interactions is to use the document templates that you have configured within the CRM. For example, if I click on this user's email address, that will open up our email configurator, and from here we can choose to use a template, maybe such as our lead introductory email. As you can see, it automatically populates the body of the email using the information from the lead, such as the contact's name and the description. Once happy with your email, you can click the send button, and then the email will be saved to the activity section as well. Obviously you need a subject line, so it's just warning us there, so I'll just put in lead info. If I hit send, we can take a look at how that appears. I'll refresh the record. And now we can see that the email was sent, and I could click on that and view the information that was sent. So one other way to record your interaction on the lead is to save external documents such as receiving emails and Word documents. So if I go into the documents page, we have this drag files here section, so you can drag and drop the external file onto that section and it will be saved for anybody else to view. You also have the Save to CRM add-in that you can be installed via the Office Store. We will be releasing actually a newer version of that soon. So again, that's something to keep an eye out on our new releases blog. Okay, now that we've taken a look at creating lead records, let's take a really quick look at how you can create a quote underneath this lead. During the sales process, you naturally will need to provide a quote to the customer so they can confirm whether they wish to go ahead with this sale or not. To create a quote record, click on the Quick Add button at the top right-hand corner here and choose to create a quote from the drop-down. The first bit of information it asks for is the quote description. This will default to the name of the lead description, so you don't have to actually type that out if you don't. If you're happy with keeping it the same. Of course, you could overtype that if you wanted to. You can also choose which currency that you wish to sell in. Of course, it's going to take whatever currency has been set at the division record, so hopefully you shouldn't have to change this. You then have the option to choose a quote template to base your quote on, or you could search for another quote to choose to copy all their products from. But we're going to create this quote from scratch. Now that we have kind of filled out all that information, we can click on the Create button, and that will go through and create a quote record underneath this lead. We can then start adding products that we wish to sell to this particular contact. Please note there are a few different ways of adding your products to a quote record, but today we're just going to be using the quick search. So I'm going to search within here for our industrial alarm system product. So by clicking on that, it's then going to add this product to our quote, and it will pull through the selling price from our integrated accounting system. And then I can also view additional information about this product if I wanted to, such as maybe the cost price, margin, and also maybe the stock as well, which is also quite important. So now that I've completed my quote, I may wish to provide a copy to the customer. Again, I can click on this contact's email address and then choose our quote email template from the drop-down, which will then auto-populate and give us a copy of that quote that we had, and we can send that through to our customer. So once the customer has confirmed they wish to go ahead, you will obviously need to fill out the customer order reference with their PO, so whatever they provide you with. And then you can click the confirm order button to push that order through to your accounting system. Obviously, you do all the invoicing and the picking from your accounting system or inventory management system, so that will all be done within there. So we are now happy that this particular order has been closed off and sold. So before we finish off this webinar, I just want to take a quick look at the standard sales reports available. So to access the sales reports, expand out the side panel here and then choose the sales reports group from the options here. So within here we have a set of sales reports such as our sales pipeline this month report. So this report shows all the leads within a pipeline that have an estimated close date of this month. So remember I was saying about how it's important to update that estimated close date. We also have some useful summaries at the top of the report, such as worst, likely and best figures, calculated using the cotometer and lead value. Another useful report is the increasing revenue report, just here. So this shows you all of your customers who have increased the amount of spend with you year on year. This report uses the sales transaction data, so information from your integrated accounting system. Very similar, we have the decreasing revenue report. We don't actually have any data in here just due to it being our demo one, but for your accounts that would be really quite useful because it will show you all the customers that have decreased the amount spent with you as a business year on year. This report can really help your sales team focus on those customers that may be slipping away from your business. I won't go through all of these reports, we just don't have time. But as you can see, there's lots of standard sales reports for you to use, so I recommend having a little browse through there. Obviously, if there is a report in there that isn't quite what you need, then make sure that you do take a look at using our report builder, because obviously you can create your own reports using that. So now that we've seen the CRM in action, let's take a look at some additional resources that can help you when using these features. So first of all, we have our YouTube channel, which includes easy to follow videos on various aspects of the CRM, which can be found by you searching for Prospect the Stock Aware CRM. Next, we have the ProspectSoft Academy, which allows you to learn at your own pace with our articles and videos, covering the fundamentals of the solution and more complex functionality. You can also always give us a call on our main line or chat with us online. We also have our services portal where you can log a ticket or query. Finally, we have our ideas portal where you can log any enhancement requests and track their progress. You can also search for other ideas and view their comments and info from the developers working on them. Please note that the ideas with the most votes will be prioritised within the product roadmap, so make sure you vote on your favourite ideas. Thank you for attending today's webinar. I hope you found it informative. Please do get in contact if you have any questions or would like to discuss the Prospect CRM further. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar, which will take place Wednesday, the 14th of August, on critical product info for your sales team. Look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much.